Omega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom, and tonight we've gathered to have a little talk about the latest offering from Doctor Who Series 10 with the longest title, apparently, in the history of the show. Allegedly. We're going to go back and count letters later. The Pyramid at the End of the World. Okay, so once again, since we have a lot of people in here, when I call your name, please just give a little hi or whatever, and then immediately go into your opening thoughts on Pyramid at the End of the World. So let's start at the bottom this time. Let's start with... all I hear is Graham Chewy. Graham, call it out with the snacks. Your head's going to explode, man. Okay, let's go to Texas Tim.
Well, I thought it was good. I've heard a couple of people say that it wasn't quite as good as last week, but it is part 2 of a 3-part story. And I think last week might have been slightly better because it was a bit more of a mystery. This is something different. This is they're building up the story to continue, and it was very well done. It was interesting. I mean, it was kind of all over the place in a lot of ways, but I think in a good way. So that's my opening thoughts. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, let's go to the other Tim in the cast. Beefhead, back from Spain.
Yes, hello, it's me. I'm back again.
Just check out that 10.
Yeah, that's it. It is. In case you're wondering, it is me. It's not some sort of bronzed Adonis cast out, hewed from metal, adorning places in Greece. It is me, and I'm back in my humble domicile. Last week there was a lot of action and everything like that, and there's a lot of fanciness and everything like that went with it. And the thing is, at the end of the day, it was a simulation. You throw it away. There's nothing really to it that you can carry on from that. So don't be upset that it hasn't gone on. A lot of this season has been similar to the classic. So you're going to have a 3-part story, which they haven't done. And you need to have a setup like that in this. It was solid. It was good. I didn't mind it. Yes, the parts with the soldiers and everything like that were dragged out. I think you do have to set it up. There's a lot of undertones in this, I think. But basically it boils down to any chain of events can lead to disaster. It's just what happens with it. Obviously, it's just some scientist who can't handle his drink. He really needs to get his act together and man up and really get some proper drinking stones together. I thought Warwick Davis was really good in this episode. I couldn't tell it was him. It was a really good makeup job, and he looked completely like a woman. I liked it. There were good points, there were bad points. I do think the protocols in their health and safety workplace are somewhat lacking. In all honesty, there would be fail-safes whereby things like that could never really happen, but it's been really exaggerated for dramatic effect. I liked it. I like where it got to at the end. It wasn't bad. It wasn't by any means the best. It's a good middle of the road for a 2-part.
That's okay. I'm still trying to figure out why I'm echoing over you, Bill.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh.
If I was having problems or if that was the Zoom chat.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out why they would use a B-52 on a close-in bombing run when the B-52 is pretty much semi-retired. So, but that's just me, But okay, let's move on. Let's go to, matter of fact, let's go ahead and go to you, Bill, since you're down there at the bottom now.
Well, I liked the episode. Yeah, I thought the B-52.
I think he just, what? Did I cut out or did everybody else cut out?
No, we're still here. We're here.
I think we just lost Bill. Okay, Bill, we'll come back to you when you reappear. Okay, let's go to Bo.
With this episode, I won't be able to pick the best bits like I've been doing with previous episodes, because I thought, you know, the whole episode was brilliant. You know, the monks, the virus, and Doomsday and all that. I thought it was pretty damn epic from start to finish. So bring on part 3. I can't wait for part 3.
I can agree with you. I pretty much. All right, let's go back to Vil and see if its connection's a little bit better. Okay, go ahead, Vil.
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, where in the hell was this Stephen Moffat before this series? You know, it's like you said. I have to echo that. This is a great episode. I'm just amazed at how good they've been up through now. In a way, you know, just because of the better storytelling, I wouldn't quite compare it to Classic Who, but it feels like they've borrowed more elements from that. I thought that was a nice touch. I'm liking the episode a lot.
All right, great to hear. Great to hear. All right, let's move on to Connor.
Yeah, this episode was like a setup to next week. I think it felt like almost that the Extremis was like the prologue and the initial setup. Then this was establishing the threat and the possibility of invasion. And then it's just, you know, it's going to all kick off next week. It's a nice two-parter so far. Obviously, it'll conclude with the third part next week. I like it when Doctor Who gets political. I know not a lot of people do. It's a very Marmite sort of subtext to put into a Doctor Who episode, politics, especially when it's current events, which this was quite current because it was dabbling with World War III. You know, there was the odd Donald Trump reference in there about an orange president, which I did have a cheeky laugh at. And you know, the monks are exceptional. They are by far one of the best monsters, I think we can call them, in recent years. They're so different in their intentions that, you know, I'm not even sure if they are entirely evil. Like, because you can't really, I can't read them just yet. I'll have to see how next week goes. But, you know, involving all the armies and stuff in it and bringing all the different nationalities and making it a world crisis. And then you have the incompetent scientist that sort of kickstarts the chain of events that leads to the possible world extinction. Was a fun, but it was a bit of an odd subplot because I don't think at first it was very clear what was going on with that. It almost felt like it was just there as a distraction, and then you start to make sense of what was going on, and then, you know, he inputted it was basically like a Homer Simpson drunken mistake at the nuclear factory, where it was like, you know, he inputted something wrong, and then, you know, it all shit kicks off. But, you know, it was a nice subplot, and I think as a middle part this really stood up well, and credit to Peter Harness and to Stephen Moffat as well for writing a fun political intrigue episode.
Yeah, what I loved about it is the fact that it is clearly a three-parter, but what I love is you have one step for the planning. This middle part is the execution of the plan, and then we're going to get the end game in the third part. So this was laid out brilliantly. Finally, we got a villain in here that is really intriguing, really mysterious. We have no idea what the hell they are. We have no idea what they're capable of. But like I said, remember that key line. We appear this way because we see you as corpses. We appear as you don't.
Yes. Yeah.
So that right there should be creeping the shit out of anybody. Okay, let's go to Graham.
Yep, cheers. I enjoyed this. Like you've alluded to, Brian, it's this is essentially the middle part of your subliminal three-parter. Did it drag in places for me? Yeah. Like Connor alluded to, it wasn't exactly made clear to begin with in terms of the two scientists, what their role was to play in it, in terms of the bacteria and relation what the deal was with the supposed thing that was the threat to the world. The monks are phenomenal. I love them. I want to see more. I want to learn more about them and see what their overall end game is. I'm looking forward to that. Capaldi was in top form in this. He was phenomenal, and by the end of this, his blindness is cured. So That whole scene you saw in the trailer, what was the regeneration to cure his blindness? No, the fuck it wasn't. So it'll be interesting to see what the actual regeneration scene was for come next week. Bill, she's stepping up to the plate. Nardo was as good as ever. It will be interesting to see what exactly the monks have to do with the whole concept of we are not going to take over the world until we're asked. That was divulged greatly here. You had the Chinese ambassador who was turned to dust because he wasn't a believer. You had the other people who went the same way. Bill was obviously a believer. Love equates to trust, equates to harmony, and you know her intentions were believed. They were noble. The Doctor got his sight back. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here on in. I'm eager to see how they resolve this. I'm eager to see what exactly the threat is, now that the world has relented and taken part in the monk's nefarious scheme. Bring on next week. This isn't the best, but at the same time, you can tell 100% that it was a middle of the road, putting meat on the bones type story. This will probably make a lot more sense come the end of next week. I enjoyed it.
I know, especially since I know some of us here have already seen some of the scenes they filmed for the next episode, down in Wales. They're filming in Wales. So it's really, I'm really looking forward to seeing those scenes actually played out on the show.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to, I think we have our naysayer for the evening, but hey, no one's going to have the same opinion. So, and I like to keep it that way because that way it keeps the mix going a little bit. So let's go to Philip Archer, see what he has to say.
I'm not a naysayer, but anyway, the first time watching it, I did think, oh, this is a bit draggy and it's a bit too political and it's a bit like, ugh. But I gave it a second watch, and on second watch, I kind of appreciate it a bit more. I do, as what everybody said, I do love the monks, and I like how these creatures are a lot more sinister, and like we said, we don't really know what their real problem game is, and I still think they're like foot soldiers to a greater whole. I like how the Doctor finally revealed to Bill that he's now blind, and she sort of like said, you know what, fuck this, I've got to sort this out. So she goes and presents herself to the monks so they give him back his sight. That was good. I'm also curious as to why Nardal is succumbed to the virus when he's basically a machine. So that's a bit curious for me.
Hey, Philip.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask you a quick question with what you said there. How do you think Missy would react if the Doctor revealed that he's Scottish and blinded?
She'd probably say something nice. I don't know, but still.
Give me more whiskey.
Also,
she knows. She knows.
The Doctor did tell Nardal that you're not all machine. Remember, or what you call it? Remember, I got your lungs cheap.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. I missed that part of it. In that case, fair enough. But overall, on second viewing, it's a good story, but it was a bit bogged down for me on certain levels. But I'm not going to say it's a bad story. It's a good little setup. But I would have liked a bit more ramped up of action to follow through to the last segment. It just seemed to be slumped for me in this one. That's all I'm going to tell you on that.
Hang on, sorry to interrupt. Can I just add a quick addendum? Was Warwick Davies Erica?
No,
that's a joke.
It wasn't. It was a lady called Rachel Denning.
I'm just double checking. I'm sitting there like, Warwick Davies was in this fucking episode.
I thought you were kidding. Oh God, I thought you were joking. No, it was not. It was a young actress.
Rachel Denning.
That's fair enough. I'm just double checking, beef. I thought you were fucking gone blind. You know. Yeah.
Okay, meanwhile, about Sammy.
Boys, into my stash.
Is it me? Okay. So I liked the episode. It was very cool, very nice shot, very well written. I like the monks. I'm a bit intrigued by them. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. And this season is good so far. There were never dull episodes on this point so far, so I enjoy it, so I will keep watching.
All righty. Let's go to William.
Hey now, everybody. This is like everybody knows. This is the second of a 3-part story. As we also there's certain thing that really sticks out in just specifically this episode. Nardo was great, especially helping with the doctor communicate when he was walking to the pyramid, and then and then the shocking that he passed out in the TARDIS. So we have to wait the next week to find out what happens with him. So that I look forward for that because he's a great character so far. Once again, Bill gets messed up in her date. It was one thing is another. It's not gonna be a running gag this season. I got the funny feeling because I got the funny feeling when she goes on another date, it's gonna get interrupted. But so that's a little bit funny there. But it's a little bit weird that the monks say that they need to be asked to take over because to prevent the disaster. But we noticed that of course it was you could say the idiotic scientists who caused the disaster like that. But I mean, but watching the episode, we noticed, of course, that the monks are watching everything from the cameras like that, and we see them take over the plane and stop him from bombing them, and the submarine from the Russians from bombing them. It says maybe in some certain way they caused this virus to happen, and instead of making it look like scientists did it, if they could get permission to take over the planet. We got to find out next week if that's happened or that really was an accident or not. But what's weird, the weird thing that stood me out is that last week we had the trip in the Matrix of the build up for today with a flashback about Missy. So I mean everybody knows there's no Missy in the story until next week because because we had to see the scenes of the lab and the virus that caused this whole shenanigans because everybody thought that it was going to be a war between all the different nations like that. So that, they try to prevent that. But, I got to give props for one thing, something like this that looked like a war was going to start. And they didn't use unit at all because we all saw the different people from different nations. So in a way, they weren't needed because this is a big world disaster and one specific thing wasn't needed for that. So I liked that unit wasn't needed. I'm not saying that we don't need to see them no more, but for this story, it was good that they weren't used because we could, the other actors that was used, they stood out pretty good, even though they didn't heed to the doctor and pay the piper for try to sneak the monks into, stop preventing the disaster like that. Like we said, this is the second of a 3-part story. We're gonna find out next week how it ends. So far the doctor got his sight back, so that solved that problem right there. So what him and Missy are gonna do? Well, boy, we're gonna find out. And the way she is, man, that's a nut right there. So that's gonna be a crazy episode next week.
Yeah, unit was off dealing with the Silurians. That's why, you see. Okay. All right, let's go to Elijah.
Well, I really love this episode. Where it left off, it was kind of interesting how it was the doctor who told Bill this whole story, and then Bill told her girlfriend or partner at the time. And I thought this was a very, very good episode, very intriguing with the monks. I can't wait to see what they do next week. One line that they said in here, fear is contemporary, love is slavery. It's kind of a little spin on 1984 with war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. So that's something I caught in there. And also the orange man bit, I thought that was hilarious. Overall, the cast was very good, very dynamic, and roll on next week.
Orange man.
Let's move on to AJ.
Hi there. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. To me, it felt like a cross between Resident Evil, the first movie, and the Andromeda Strain. You know, we got a virus and it's going to destroy the world and all that. I just really like also the idea of how 1,000 tiny little events and mistakes can happen that can lead to a catastrophe on a global scale, and you know, just wiping out the human race. Whereas these monks step in and they want to save us by enslaving us. I mean, it's kind of contradictory. So I don't know how the next story is going to go or not. Next week.
Yeah, you know, it really did kind of make me think of Christianity a bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His holiness thanks you though.
Actually, it reminded me more of a very poignant saying. Anyone who gives up freedom for security deserves neither.
True.
Yeah, true.
Very good point.
Let's go to Matt Rose.
Oh, hello. I quite enjoyed this one. Out of the two so far, I think I prefer this one to Extremis. I just thought it was betterly done, but I didn't like. I just didn't click with last week's, but this one screamed me more. But I didn't like the mention of the orange tanned person who runs America. I do not like any Donald Quack references anywhere I go. I just don't want him anywhere near Doctor. Oh, boo-hoo, Graham. Anyway, I enjoyed it. The President of the World was back, which I really enjoyed. When all goes wrong, the Doctor is back in charge of the presidency of the world. But I still like the monks, as everyone voiced, and I just can't wait to know more of what they got to do. They've turned the world potty again, and I can't wait to see from Bill, who's alone next week, and to see what her takes on. But I love this episode, and I think this has been such a strong season this year.
Yeah, it's very strong. It's very consistent, I think. So, yeah, it's really cool. So, move on.
Okay. Are you done, Matt? Okay. Let's go to Susan and Alex.
Okay. Hello from Massachusetts. Wonderful episode. Rich. I love the monks. The fact that Unit was there. Unit presents to me.
Susan, it wasn't Unit. It was just United Nations, darling.
Yeah, they were UN peacekeeping troops.
All right.
Yeah, they weren't Unit.
Go ahead. Go with the opening thoughts.
Here, you talk. You talk.
All right, guys. Yeah, I mean, but other than that, I did like the episode a lot more than all this quick cuts and all this. I want Doctor Who. I don't want other TV shows. I'm sorry if you guys don't like it, but I actually did like this week's episode a lot more than last week's. And that's what I want. I want Doctor Who. I don't want Twin Peaks. I don't want any other imitations of shows. That's what I want. If I sound a little bit like Philip, oh well. I agree with them on that. I like that it had more meat and potatoes. I noticed the wordplay. That's fine. They did set up an interesting villain. Now we see the third part, what they do, and hopefully the Doctor has a few ploys. And so does the Mistress Master also.
And I think it might set up the Cybermen story at the end. That's where I was going with my thought, is that the mise-en-scène in this there's just continuity in the story arc that's like, anyway, from classic Who all the way through. But I guess I'm done now.
All right. So let's move on, shall we? All right. After that's going to make an interesting edit. Okay. And it was one happy note. We now know that Nard only needs air, water, food, and beer. All right.
Yeah.
Especially the beer. Consent.
Okay, so you have to admire these creatures because they not only came up with a plan, put the entire world thinking, okay, the problem's here, and it's not. But they also managed to get the Doctor out of the way and set it up perfectly so that Bill is going to walk up and hand over the planet. I'm not kidding. That is one hell of a plan. They completely skipped everybody. All right, come on.
It's a long con.
Yeah.
It's a long con, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question, though, because I was away for a while? It doesn't seem like they said that they can only manipulate so much. That's why they have those stringy things that they were playing with, and then they focus so much on the bag being trapped in the door and the glasses breaking or the bottles from the night before breaking. In other words, they can't control big things. They can just do small things that will build up a long plan, will it not, or something?
Yeah, I kind of get that gist of it. Like,
So like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How many people here know your Greek mythology? Did not those strings remind you of the three sisters? The three
Sisters
Sisters of the Fate, yeah.
And these guys,
it's like the life strands of people, yeah. Sisters, yeah.
But go ahead, Beef, go ahead.
Well, no, what I was going to say is like going from what something Connor was saying earlier, where I think the rest of this series there has been sort of heavy political points made and everything like that. They actually stepped back from that this week, I think, to be honest with you. While next week is going to be quite Orwellian and that sort of idea of fake news, then that will be encapsulated in that episode. This one was more, for me, a classic of a invasion story. The good thing about these monks is that, you can't, they have no facial expression, so you can't read them. If you notice with the doctor's, display from his glasses, the only characters that aren't actually readable in any way, shape or form are the monks, and you don't actually know why they want to take over the planet either. So you still have no idea to their actual end motives, what they stand to gain from it by the end of it.
That's true, yeah.
Here's a question. Remember how the doctor said the monks, the way we see them in this episode, that's not the way they really look like.
Yeah.
So we don't know what they really look like, but which is unusual because even though I'm jumping a little bit ahead, when they show the little clip for next week and then they show the statues, they still look like they're monks. I thought they might show them what they really look like.
That's an interesting point, though, Will. If you're saying, for what you just said, then could they actually be the Cybermen? But because of the way they talk, the way
I get what you're meaning. I know what you mean. That you think they're something else besides the monks, but to jump ahead and think of them as just the Mondasian Cybermen is a little far fetched. Because remember how much the technology these monks used. They stopped the plane. They stopped the bomb. I mean, they fixed a pyramid that opened up inside. That's a lot of technology.
Phil, look, essentially, they're not going to introduce a new villain just to have them turn to be an old villain.
Why not?
Well, but Philip, I think to entertain your connections theory, I think it's more likely to connect to the Master than it is to the Mondasian Cybermen. Now, you could say maybe the Mondasian Cybermen are connected to the Master, but I think, like you said in your review, you feel like they're footmen to something a lot bigger. I can see where you're coming from.
Excuse me, guys. I got to make my exit, so before I do, I just wanted to introduce you to the new cast member, Arash Kagal.
Ooh. Oh, there you go.
Why do you give them such fuck-up names, man?
Because they're all Egyptian, Phil. Keep up.
This is not Egyptian. Arash Kagal is the Sumerian goddess of the underworld.
Oh, sweet. Oh, there you go. And in the words of Hades, 2 thumbs way, way up.
Like my captain died. That's pretty damn morbid. But anyway, I just want to say thanks for having me on. I'd love to stick around, but I have to get some more before they close in 15 minutes, or I won't have probiotics. And if I don't have probiotics, I will be coughing and shitting at the same time.
Are you going to get a rating before you go?
All right. Well, you guys have a great day, and thanks again.
Wait. Give us a rating.
Oh, my rating?
Yes.
I'm going to give this one a 9.
Champion. Have a good night, man.
Yep. Thanks.
If I could ask, Connor, you said you didn't think these guys were necessarily bad guys in a way, or you think they might not be as villainous as they seem.
Yeah, I don't see them as conventional villains.
Well, that's a good point you brought up.
But hold on, my question is that because they did murder those people just like that, turn them into dust. That's not exactly nice guys. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. Oh, it's interesting. The people in the plains, they weren't disintegrated. They ended up back at the pyramid entrance, which was weird.
Yeah. That's a good point too. That's a very good point.
I think the people that they disintegrated was more because, as they said, if your consent is not legitimate, then
so they don't answer the question the correct way.
Yeah, maybe that's the only way that they know how to operate under that. I don't necessarily, in other situations, as Elijah just alluded to there with the pilots, I don't think they necessarily have that.
Well, yeah, you got to look at the questions. Do you have power? And and then we give your consent, but the consent has to be, the right thing. And
it has to come from love, right?
Yeah, what happened was it had to be.
It has to be love, and love they said is slavery.
But Bill denies having any power. She says she has no power whatsoever.
Well,
you see the guys in the subs and the guys in the airplane. They were just executing orders, and they weren't asked the question. You see, they were just taken off the board.
Yeah,
that's all they wanted.
Sorry, I thought the monks said pure. Didn't they say pure the first 4 times? They had to be pure. They used the word
pure.
Pure was a word brought up, Alex. Yeah.
Exactly. You see, so that's why the soldiers and the sailors were spared, because they weren't actually asked the question to give consent. They were just, basically disarmed and let go.
Yes.
Now, here's the question: the UN representative that were killed, the 3 of them, they only represented their part of the country. Their part.
Yeah, Russia, China.
Yeah, like that. So how did Bill represents the whole world? Because you had
he represented the doctor.
He represents the doctor. You see. All right, AJ, you've had your hand up for a couple of minutes. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, this episode reminded me a bit of the angels from the last season of Charmed, where they took over the world and they tried to make it perfect. Anyone who didn't like it, they just eradicated. I don't know if that's something to point out or not, but that's what it reminded me of.
But of course, they used the politically correct term, if I remember, it was white lighters, wasn't it?
I never watched that show.
Yeah, I never watched that either, but it does seem like these it's almost like a trick. I mean, are they benevolent, or are they just, or in other words, you have to word it correctly. I mean, because they're not necessarily killing people willy-nilly. They're just doing it when they're untrue to what what it is they expect from them to say, So.
Yeah.
But freedom. Let me say, freedom. Remember your Star Trek watcher? Remember, I don't even remember the Next Generation episode about the woman that faked that she was a god like that, and Picard had to. Doesn't this story a little bit remind you of it, because the technology that the monks are using? So they had such a big technology to be able to stop the plane and the nuclear war and all that.
It is the same type of story. You see, she was playing a long con, just like they are.
And that's the other thing too. I mean, they say, "Do you have the power?" So is it a riddle? Is it a I mean, is it some?
No, but the politicians said yes because they have power. They're elected. But Bill said, "No, I don't have any power. I'm just a girl." So I mean, that maybe that's why something was different in that sense. It's hard to say, because again, those people who wanted to give them the go ahead to do whatever it is they needed to do to get them out of the situation, they were, at the end of the day, had power, at least, or they confessed they had power, whereas Bill does not.
I wonder, you know how the monks had the power to give the doctor his sight back? What if, right?
With a quickness too.
Yeah, I know, but what if at the end of the game they realise that they're being duped by him, and then they go, you know what? Let's take his sight back again. They can do that, couldn't they?
Well, you know what? Yeah. You might get to the end of next week's episode, and you might well find he is playing a 7-end game here, where he's doing a bit of McCoy here, and he knew what was going to transpire all along. But you're not going to know that until you watch next week's episode, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that, but I'm just looking at it and saying, you better be careful what he does, because if they can give him his sight, they can take it away after they realise they're being conned.
But the funny thing
they may
is,
not have that ability.
Yeah, but the way thing, like Freedom said, they made a con to us that they're the one that could solve the world problem, which in the beginning we thought which was a war, and then it turned out to be a virus like
chemical war. Yeah. Chemical.
But it's true that is it not true that they're executing that virus themselves, because they're manipulating these events to happen in that certain way with the dropping of the bottles and the breaking of the glasses and all that stuff. That's what they implied anyway from the episode.
Yes,
is that they're actually, by playing with their little threads and moving them around or whatever, they're actually manipulating tiny events to build up to a bigger thing. Like so
that means the doctor could tell them your agreement with Bill is null and void, because you're the one that caused this situation to happen to begin with, instead of it happening in a normal way.
And those visions that they gave him.
Visions.
Yeah.
The visions. Like they could not have
destruction.
They could have been complete hogwash.
Yeah,
that's true. Remember whenever the doctor showed Sarah Jane in 1980.
You know what? That's interesting. The murder guy's going about how the monks are playing with these threads and all the rest of it. It does hark back to the fates of Greek mythology. But that's a whole different thing for another day. But it'll be interesting to see how and why this plays out. We still don't know the monks' end game. And it's up to, is it Toby Whitehouse who's doing this next week?
Yeah.
To basically give us an end game. So let's see it.
Okay, AJ's had his hand up for a little bit while. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say again, when Phil said about the doctor getting his sight back, shortly after they agreed to the terms, all they had to do was flick the string to change the event that took away his eyesight. Because if they were manipulating events, all they had to do was find that string, just flick it, and that event never happened.
That's true.
It would imply that they have vast power then if they can undo something that quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, in other words, all their talk of only, making a couple of beer bottles break or whatever is a bit silly then, because that implies they have great power. This episode actually leaves you with more questions than answers.
Yep.
And I think that's because it is the middle part of a 3-part story. So, I mean, that's a good thing. It's going to be hard to rate, though, because it is just the middle. It's all middle.
That's true.
Another thing I want. You know how we know that they've run the simulation of how they're going to attack the Earth and everything, and they think they got it
Yeah.
to a T at this point. Does that not mean that they know future events before they actually played out this way?
No, because the simulation is only up until all of Earth's history until the point where they began the simulation.
Okay, so they haven't jumped ahead to see how
No.
it play out.
No.
Okay, I got you now.
I think the basis of the simulation also was to ascertain what the reaction is. The idea of if unless they hand over power, you are always going to have an uprising. You're always going to have a rebellion. You're always going to have a dissenting party. If they consent to it, if they come to you and ask for you to take it and to save them, then you are not going to have that problem of revolt. Unhappiness, mistrust. You're going to have a pliable people or underlings or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is it not interesting too that Missy was not even involved in this in any way whatsoever? She wasn't even mentioned, and she was only mentioned in the last episode in flashbacks, which had something to do with an overall arc, but nothing to do with what happened this week.
Yeah.
As far as we know, I mean, so that was an interesting thing too. That she didn't even appear. There were no more flashbacks of her. It was just all about this.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure, isn't she supposed to come back next week?
Yes, and she's in I believe they called it, was it a quantum chamber? So ergo, it's outside of everything. So it cannot be influenced by, whatever is going on outside.
The monster's influence, yeah.
I mean, based on the Next Time trailer, it seems like she's more in an advisory role.
I never saw the Next Time trailer, so I can't comment, but...
Well,
okay, you guys keep on talking. I'm just going to run through these. So these are from next week's episode.
Okay.
Yeah, if you were to watch the Next Time trailer, you would see...
the Morfords in next week's episode? What the fuck?
That was a production still.
Magpie.
I see that, yeah.
In regard to the Next Time trailer, did she not say that Pearl's going to die or something?
Well, it sounded like she was encouraging whoever, the Doctor, to kill whoever started the chain of events that led to what situation we're in now.
Let me get the quote.
This is essentially the episode where A, the Doctor regenerates, and B, supposedly the Doctor Bill shoots him.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just going to... I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, AJ. I'll come out.
I was just going to say, this episode, it feels like it's going to be like that 2 or 3-parter with the Doctor and the Master, where time rewound itself back to where it was a year previously. It feels like it's a tangent timeline. It's just going to eradicate itself, and all those events are not going to happen.
You know what? If that happens, AJ, oh my fiddledy fuck, there's going to be a timey-wimey episode with Internet Can't blame Moffat.
So that's a unit tank, isn't it?
No, that's UN.
Well, these are called the Memory Police, and you're going to get used to them next week.
That's interesting, because the amount of filming we had with them, we assumed they were going to be in there, and it turns out it's one episode only.
Matter of fact, this right here is one of the gentlemen who took the photo, so go check his shit out. I want to make.
Who's that? What's his name? Oh,
Hugh Evans Agency. HU, right there it is.
Okay, fair point, Hugh.
I want to make sure he gets credit. Okay.
So some quotes from next week from the Radio Times were, I'm sorry, Bill. I really wanted to make you see, and oh my God, this is real. You're really doing this. There you go.
Yeah. So probably my theory might play out where...
Oh, see, Nardo was on set.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, there he is.
Ooh, oh.
If I recall correctly, there was I think you might have seen this, Brian. There was something from filming where a group of humans, like people on the street, tackled one of the monks.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And so, I mean, is everyone under the delusion, or is it just a certain faction of people, or whatever? I don't know, but
it depends how they
resistance, maybe.
Yeah, it depends how they do the delusion.
Refresh my memory. What's the title for next week?
Light of the Land.
Light of the Land. Okay.
Lie of the land.
Lie of the Land. Okay.
Basically, the way I'm seeing it, and this is just what I gauge for the next time trailer, is that reality as you perceive it is changed because the monks will always be there. If you see the scene where you've got the monk and you've got the pyramid above him, you've got certain pictures that are from Earth's history. You've got the moon landing.
Yeah.
You've got the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
God knows why. But
yeah, God knows fucking why. Yeah.
But the monks are interspersed with all these sort of moments in history, so that they will have always been there as a ever guiding hand and presence.
Is that now? They said the silence were in a sort of way.
In a way, Tim. Yeah, in a way.
But the silence.
In a way, I mean, they were rewritten because of the events. Day of the Moon with the Neil Armstrong thing. These guys, and obviously when this next episode opens up, you're going to be in their reality, so to speak.
So hence the memory police, because if you remember something that is not in fitting with theirs,
Okay, if I remember correctly, this is the group of folks who own this particular prop. And if you want to laugh and a half, it does not have an engine.
Huh.
That's why it had to be brought out, rolled into place off the back of a trailer.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Because of certain regulations, since it's considered to be a military vehicle, blah, 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 I don't think it's allowed to be mobile anymore.
How can something without an engine be considered to be a military vehicle?
No, because if it had an engine, blah, blah, it would be considered to be a military vehicle.
Okay.
Closer up thinking the memory police vehicle.
Truth.
Yep. And you're going to see that logo a lot coming next week.
Is it me, or does the monks sort of remind me a bit of the Time Lords with their manipulations and their technology as well?
It could, in a way, but okay, just for a side note, also, when they were done filming, they let people take these photos, get them autographed, and take them off the set at home.
Yep, George Baker had some of them.
George Baker, I think was. Yeah, so if anybody out there, if you see any of your photos on here, please send me a message or leave a comment in the comment box, and I'll make sure to put something in the description for this video so you do get credit, all right?
No, with regards to the cliffhanger in general, with the whole explosion and the flames coming towards the Doctor at the end, were we happy with that?
Yeah.
Did that entice your enthusiasm? Did that butter your bread? That we all good to go? With these flames? Yeah,
crisis averted.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, Bill.
Oh, no, really? Yeah,
Bill, what have you done? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now you get the flames, And the most important question: what happened to the wee midget lassie?
Erica.
Erica.
She was still with him. She survived.
Yeah, she survived. She was next to him.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I don't want to be hatist, but no, it's no worry, David. Sorry about that.
I like how he was kind of sort of like alluding to the fact you can come and travel with me in a TARDIS to her, like a companion.
I just found it hysterical how she was running about the lab and she could barely reach the door handle. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be hatist, but
I still like it. There's still been so many great, even with the sort of drama and the tension that you had with this episode. There's still some really solid comedy that goes through.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when she goes, "Oh my God, no, it's not me. I'm completely different. Eyebrows are a bit similar." Thank you very much for playing the pyramid game and everything.
Exactly, brilliant, mate.
I love it when he goes into game show host mode. He's top form when he does.
I mean, what was she, about 3'5"? I mean, I'm sitting there going.
What does he keep saying? The big, scary, sexy doctor. I mean.
Sexy genius for space.
That's it. He goes from stupid to fantastic and strangely alluring but approachable. Yeah.
I'm not just sexy.
If I may bring back the beef board as well.
Here we go.
Obviously, last week we had a very sort of angels and demons type thing as well.
We did, yes. Fuck you, Tom Hanks. Yeah.
And I think what it is why did we have the monks show up?
Okay, go for it, beef.
We had the pyramid.
There you go. Yeah. Screw you, Rolf Harris. We don't need to guess what I
thing
did.
is that- Exactly.
Those damn pyramid schemes.
Exactly. It's no, the idea of it's pointing. It's a couple of things. You have the idea of Pythagoras and geometry. You have the idea of the Holy Trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So you have something that combines both science and faith, which is something that they've been going through in these 2 episodes. You've tried to have the idea of last week, the idea of faith. This week, the idea of science being the destroyer. So there's that. Obviously, you have the idea of the pyramids and the idea of the Illuminati, Graham's friends.
If you want to put an LCNI in that thing, I'm leaving.
Exactly.
You know.
There is such an amazing symbolism for the monks to show up in the pyramid. I mean, also for the fact is that if you notice the logo, I think that Elijah has as well. It's like the S. If you remember from the Second World War and the Gestapo, and you had the SS, it's basically like that over the pyramid of those. So I think it was a very clever thing to do. So, baby, it's all about the triangles. Yeah. So I thought that was a very clever means of symbolism to use within that.
So katoa. Yeah.
And also the other thing as well, if you want to go on about secret societies, obviously next week is going to be very Orwellian. They always said George Orwell was involved with a secret society called the Fabian Society.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Whose motto was remold it. Their motto for their idea for world domination was remold it nearer to the heart's design. So there you go. This is something that's idea of secret society as well as control and thought police and 1984. Sexy.
Also, what's really nifty is if you're a Babylon 5 fan, anybody remembers the old Vorlon saying, the truth is a 3-edged sword. There's your side, there's their side, and the truth is always in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle, yep.
So it kind of, fades onto that a little bit as well, if you want to go that route.
And then there's the arrival of the pyramid, kind of like a hot talk from the Stargate franchise.
Ding 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 ding. Just saying.
I know. I have to check because that does look. I don't know if they did a scan of it or whatnot, but that does look amazingly like the Great Pyramid of Cheops. Right down to the last detail. So that's what they did. They scanned it and they used it in the episode. So nifty thing. All right. Anything else anyone wants to bring up?
Was this some of the filming they did in Spain too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have those photos on this system. Otherwise, I'd bring them up.
The scene at the roadblock thing, that was in Spain, where they opened it with a sonic screwdriver.
Holy shit! Oh.
That was the old abandoned leper colony that.
The leper colony. Yeah.
Colony that they were filming at. Yeah.
I'm assuming that's where the supposed pyramid was as well. There's no point going elsewhere to shoot that scene a couple 100 miles up the road. So yeah, that was in Spain.
I also found it hugely ironic that when you get a decimal place wrong, basically you're timesing it by 100%. So you're making it either 100% worse or 100% better, which I found quite interesting because when everything, to bring the board back, fell apart, it all dissolved into, I believe it was into ethanol, which we all know is alcohol, which was the source of the problem.
Don't diss alcohol, man.
But to be honest with you, if that's the chemical molecular formula for ethanol, C2H6O, but you could times it by 100, but if you multiply it slightly and make it C9H16 and O2, you have the molecular formula for whiskey, which is lovely.
Eat your fucking heart out, Bill Nye. Yeah.
They said the methane was actually a waste product of the bacteria. It wasn't breaking things down into methanol.
No, ethanol.
Ethanol, sorry. It wasn't breaking them down to ethanol. Ethanol was their waste product. The bacteria's waste
delicious
product.
Wow, shit.
Delicious ethanol. I also like the way that it looked like any one of those sort of medical rescue drama programs that, you're going to be a victim by the start of it when you see what happens to them. As soon as her glasses got broken, it's something's happening to you.
Over to you, dearie.
You see, hangover dad, you're dead.
Yeah.
Another interesting point that I thought was a bit not looked at. Those truth models, those have got all that power and all that technology. I can't understand why they didn't see the TARDIS as being something of a threat, because it's quite a machine that could necessarily.
Phil, I've got a question for you, if you don't mind. You said you had to watch it twice before you could truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm curious. What was your initial bugbearer on your first watch? Now, was it the fact that they were just putting meat on the bones, or what?
It just didn't make me want to concentrate on it. It was just too much going on. I was like, I can't be bothered with it.
Okay.
Not nice pictures.
Yeah, this is next to the area they were filming at. This is an abandoned sanitarium. If I remember right, this was an abandoned leper colony they were filming at there.
Yeah.
And this is also supposedly from there, but we all know where that is.
Holy shit.
Where she's at next episode. Okay. Unfortunately, some of the interiors have been rather
spiderized. Yeah. It's Charlotte's Web. What the fuck?
Here's a question. The BBC announced that they cut scenes from this week's episode due to.
It was a bunch of dialogue. It was a line, and you never noticed it because they've done it no badly.
I was going to say.
This is the thing. Had they not announced that, Nate Cunt would have fucking noticed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Monks on the way back to the trailer.
I remember when people thought that was a sea devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And boy, did they get proved wrong.
I do have to say, I do like Capaldi's red variant shirt.
That was cool.
He's getting a belly, though. He's getting a belly. I can see it.
Just to hark back on what Adrian was touching upon, you didn't even notice there was a line cut tonight. And had they not been stupid enough to fucking broadcast it, nobody would have known any the wiser.
That's what I mean. It could have been a line that could have been critical to part of the story, at least.
Nah, it wasn't really, mate. It wasn't really. You wouldn't even notice.
Well, we don't know what the line was.
Apparently, it mentioned the word terrorist. Oh, that would have explained a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying,
No, I'm not getting at you, mate. I'm getting at the BBC for being so fucking stupid for even broadcasting this and giving these assholes a political platform to say, "Oh, look at us. Whoop to do? We fucking won."
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, indeed, you're right.
Okay, just for clarification, they were UN peacekeeping troops. Yeah, and what happened was, you have to remember, after Series 9, the BBC literally got a letter from the United Nations because they did not want to be associated with a paramilitary task force. So that's why when the unit came back, and I believe it was Poison Sky or Centauran Stratagem, they became the Unified Intelligence Task Force. United Nations was completely removed from that equation.
Okay, but you can understand where I was excited for the whole thing because of my particular fandom and
yeah, you were all wet, we know. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really why I went. I mean, it could have said United Nations. It could have had it all spelled out. It could have been really clear. But in my experience, I would have. Don't
worry about it. No, we get it.
I'm kind of asking the question myself, why they didn't have at least somebody there representing UNIT, because this would be something that's literally right in their backyard, so to speak. So, the same. Maybe they were afraid it would bog down the storyline. I don't know. But there should have been at least somebody there representing UNIT in mind.
Well, it's one of them ones. Somebody could turn around and easily say, well, the doctors represent
I know, but that's a tiny...
You know what I mean?
That's a teeny tiny, minor peeve. I'm not really even going to factor it into my rating or anything like that. Because
is it not like they're trying to phase them out a bit? Sorry, Bill.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I'm wondering, are we kind of comfortable with the fact that the Doctor's being called President of the World? Do you think that's a bit in a sense?
No.
in the sense of characterization.
That is pure science fiction, because I can tell you this right now, just judging from my 46 years on this planet as of June 3rd, that'll be my birthday, by the way. There is no way on this earth that any nation, let alone a nation's representative, would appoint a total alien as the representative of the planet Earth. Like I said, that's once again, that's just I'm not even going to factor in.
Phil, would you rather be a Donald Trump on the show? Just saying.
No.
That'd be fun. That'd be funny. That would be funny.
Doctor Who.
Trust me, I wish. Graham,
He was in Home Alone too, you know.
Graham, let me put this as poignantly as I can. I wish I wish there was a way to edit him out of reality.
Well, at the end of the day, I could say the exact same thing about every fucking politician. So you know,
it's just, man. I still actually try to go through my day without looking at the news because I don't want to recognize that that's my president.
It's kind of hard when it's all CNN wants to talk about. But anyway, that's a story for another day.
It'd be funny if the Doctor did meet Donald Trump. He'd be like, "What are you, a Slytherin?"
I've not got a dog in the race. I just find it hysterical how, you know. But anyway, continue.
But the point at the same time, though, if he has that title and he goes off world, then who are they to report to if he's off world every now and then?
Yeah, but Philip, he hasn't really got a job. He's got a title, but it's not a job.
I mean, remember, Unit has access to the TARDIS.
Yeah, but Conor, it's a job when he's there, because they obviously have to refer to him to get the job.
No, but he doesn't have an agenda. He's not politically aligned with anything. He's just
Here's Donald Trump.
Exactly. He's doing exactly the same as what he always does. I don't know why.
But then why give him that title if it's no use to him? That's what I don't
Why
know.
are you bitching about a title that was gained fucking 2.5 years ago?
I'm trying to understand the reasoning why they give him that title and why they...
I'm still trying to figure out why you have a royal family, okay?
Exactly. Why does Spain have a royal family? I mean...
Why? Yeah, it's like you're paying people millions to sit on their ass in a lifestyle that most people would cut their right hand off for. Okay, but
fuck you, Camilla. Sorry.
Well, let's get political.
Man horse.
But some of the things I've read about the Queen, that's a lady who has some character.
That's true. Look, I don't have an issue with old lady. It's just the wandering about her.
Well, she did visit the victims in the hospital, though.
Which is fair enough, and that's fair point to her for that. Yeah.
Also,
what are you laughing at, Phil?
Recently, a story where apparently when there was a diplomat, I can't remember if it was from like an Arabian thing or something like that, she immediately hops in the front of the Range Rover, took the wheel, and drove like a freaking maniac while talking to him and driving him nuts. It was like, oh man, she was like all over the place.
While loading the gun, yeah.
Okay, any other things other than the fact that Nardole is more than sexy and all he needs is air, water, food, and beer?
There you go.
I'd have a night with Nardole on beer. Yeah. Why not? You know.
Plus, we did find out that, Nardole is partially organic because, as he said, I got your lungs cheap.
Mm-hmm. What I will say, they have done a very, very good thing with Nardole, because I think by the start of the season, your feelings about him were a different way. Now, when he's unconscious in the TARDIS by the end of the episode, you really give a crap about what happens to him.
Yeah.
He has now progressed beyond a disposable character or a throwaway character. People actually really do care about him. And he is much a valid member of the group than as a companion, as much as a valet, a confidant.
He's the canine, really.
Yeah.
I watched this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say he's one above Chameleon. He's soared above Adric, and he's trampling on Adam. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, he's better than any of those guys. What I was going to say was that I watched this back to back with last week's, so that I could get the the grip of it all. But I love this TARDIS team. I think they're amazing, and they're thrown together kind of, and they're very, very temporary apparently. So I mean, this is a great crew though. For the
more power to him, to be honest with you. Matt Lucas has been an absolute a godsend, putting him into this as a comic actor, and he's not always playing it for laughs. it's going to be really interesting to see how his character changes when Missy is out of the box. That's going to be another great thing to see. So
Also, what do you call it? We can invent a new term for Bill, because every time she goes out on a date these days, it seems like she's getting doc blocked.
There you go. Yeah. That's what you call the lesbian crescendo.
She prefers it to be called Lady Canal.
Well, there you go. But well, like Beef alluded to, Matt Lucas has really stood up to the plate. It'll be interesting to see how his character is rounded off, and to see how Big Finish take that and run with the ball later on. I'm looking at you, Nick Briggs.
That's what I was going to say as well. I can't wait for that they get this whole team for Big Finish at some point, because it seems like they've got a very short amount of time, and that's only because of circumstances beyond their control.
Fuck you, BBC. Yeah.
I mean, in other words, I'd love to see 2 more seasons with this crew, but there you go. That's me told. So.
Yeah. He's too old. Fuck you.
Yeah, he's too old.
Oh, come on, people. How long are you going about it?
Well, it's true.
We wouldn't have been on about it if they left on his own accord. That's not happened, so they can fuck right off.
Yeah, but
I'll tell you what, we'll revisit that in 5 years and say, do you know what? It would have actually been really good if there had been another one of this 3.
Yes.
And the only way you're going to get that there is going to be Big Finish, sadly.
Exactly.
That's if they go with this team. They could go from the beginning with Clara.
They will. No.
I think if they have the option, if they can get them all, they'll do it. That's it's a question of the actors' availability at the end of the day. And I can bet that Peter Capaldi is definitely going to want to do it at some point.
They'll do basement. They'll do Clara. As far as whoever they pick to be, they might just create a new one. You never know. But I mean, it would be fun if they get these 3 back together for some audios or something, because that's the only place we can go with it, since they're all being shuffled off. Like, get out. Cut up. Yeah.
Get out. Yep, the Scottish are being run out of Rothlock. Yeah.
We shall rise again, my friend. We shall rise again.
Matter of fact, I heard the BBC has already sent a janitor around with the vendor to take all the iron brew out of the vending machine.
Oh.
Those dirty bastards. Yeah.
And also to get all the scotch out of Capaldi's trailer. Oh, well. But, or the whiskey, I mean, actually, yeah. But,
Same
all
thing.
right.
Yeah.
So, it's a very, very interesting episode. It does stir up a lot of things, but like I said, it's a very, very well set up 3-parter. Because first you had the preparation for the plan. Now you've seen the plan executed. And now next week we're going to see the aftermath of the plan. So this was very well set up, very well done. Like I said, so far. Like I said, hopefully the payoff next week is just as good. So
sorry, can I just double check? Who co-wrote this with Stephen Moffat?
Damn, I just saw that.
Peter Harness. Okay, right.
So, yeah, it's interesting now they gave him a co-credit. Usually they leave that out, don't they? I'll say.
No.
There was a couple of co-credits in season 9.
Oh, you're right. That's right.
There were.
Okay, so very, very stirring episode. Very interesting stuff going on. Well, yeah, we actually got a villain on the board who we don't know who the hell they are. We don't know what their motives are, and it's going to keep us guessing right up to the last minute, which is what makes a great villain. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's rate this sucker, and we'll put it to bed since we've been going on for about an hour now. All right, so let's start at the bottom and work our way up again. Let's start with Matt Rose. Out of 10, how do you rate this episode, Pyramid at the End of the World?
10. 10 from Len. And can't wait for next week.
All right, Texas Tim.
I'm going to give it a 9. I think it's kind of hard to judge it on its own since it is very much all middle. So we'll have to see how it resolves itself next week. But as for now, I'll give it a 9. It's a brave choice to do a 3-part in the middle of the season. I think that's pretty cool. That's unusual for Doctor Who.
All right, Beefhead.
Yeah, I do agree with Tim. It's very hard to put a really good number on this when it's in the middle of where it is. I think it's got to be a super sexy 8. You now have the situation that perhaps you had with Clara, where Clara does something that's against the Doctor's instructions, acting out on her own, be it for her passion for him to save someone else. That didn't end badly. How is this going to end up for Bill based on what Missy said, who let the monks in, who So let's wait and see what happens. But next week, I'm really excited for it, especially just because of the grandeur and spectacle. I liked it more than last week's, if I'm honest.
Matter of fact, the way you said that, it reminded me of another thing from Babylon 5, where I think it was the Centauri ambassador, another one, passed off a diplomatic meeting to their little their assistants. And one of the things they told them is, don't give away the home world. So, Bill, you already screwed that up. No. All right, Bo, go ahead.
Yeah, it was such a brilliant episode. The monks are basically imposing a new world order. Yeah, it was really brilliant. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
All right, Connor Farley.
I'll give it a 7.5. Series 10 really hasn't taken a misstep yet, which I'm getting kind of worried about because I don't want it to, but, hopefully it doesn't, and next week...
How isn't that taken off yet? What are you on about?
I said it hasn't taken a misstep yet.
Okay.
Oh, misstep. There you go.
Yeah. It's been perfect. Sterling work from the BBC team. 7.5.
Don't give the BBC any credit. This is what Moffat is writing to.
Yeah, so far we haven't had any Curse of the Black Spot, Kill the Moon, or anything like that yet. So let's keep the fingers crossed. Okay, Graham.
I'm going to give this an 8.5. Like Beardy Weirdy and El Bifo said there, it's kind of hard to judge because it's slap bang in the middle. But it might be a wee bit slow paced for some folk, but it flushes it out, it puts meat on the bones, and let's see where they take it. 8.5 for me.
All right, Philip.
I'm going to give this a 7.5, purely because it was a bit
copycat.
Oh, I'm just saying. I mean, that's 7.5 because it was a bit.
Because that's what Connor gave it.
Oh, for God's sake! Oh, man.
Oh, there's going to be so many heart graphics on this one. Okay.
Right, all I'm saying is 7.5 because it was a bit slow in some places for me. I do like the monks look unstoppable at this moment in time, and I'm looking forward to see how this whole thing is resolved. Basically, there you go.
I was kind of waiting for Stella Black to come in and go surprise, surprise. But anyway,
Okay, Sammy.
A 10.
All right, another 10. All right.
Yeah.
Rock
it
on.
was cool. It was cool, and I love it. So.
Cool. William?
At the second part of a 3-part, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. But I just question, I wonder if everything will be answered next week, or we're still going to be left with some questions. We wait and find out.
Maybe not.
No, I think you always should be left with questions. That's the kind of show this is. I mean, they can't answer everything. If they did, then there'd be no point in bringing them back later. You know what I mean? So why not?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Elijah.
I'm going to have to give this one an 8.5. I really enjoyed it and looking forward to next week.
All right, AJ?
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 9. I really enjoyed the episode. It was a slow burner. It wasn't just vampires and explosions and shit everywhere, so it was good.
Vampires?
Yeah.
Alex and Susan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I like this one a lot better. It brings up interesting points of, was this part of the doctor's plan, or was it all accidental or spontaneous? And then that brings up the question of, we really don't see too many examples of when, quote unquote, everything goes wrong. And he was trying to tell the troops and other people don't trust the monks, and no one seemed to be listening to him. And that's, they should have stories like that as well. So it's also good next week to tune in and see how he has a ploy or wiggles himself out of this one.
Mm-hmm. You going to get a number, or are we going to sit here on that?
Sorry. No, I said a 9. I meant to say 9.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I will. I'll give it an 8.5. I was a little. It is hard to when it's in the middle and when it's a story but I did like the I did like the interplay around the lab. I thought that was really brilliant, and so yeah, let's see what comes next.
And I'm going to give this one a solid 9. It was so far it's been an incredible payoff. I'm really hoping they can keep this momentum up for the next episode when we ties it all up. Brilliant season so far. Like I said, there's been no real heavy duty clunkers or anything like that so far. So hopefully they can keep it. Matter of fact, I actually had a message from a friend of mine online and goes, "Where was this Stephen Moffat for the last few years?" So, got to give credit where credit's due. He's really, really stirring things up and is, on his way out the door. Okay, so folks, next week, who am I echoing off of? Okay. Next week, join us as we sit down and have a little peek at what happens after the plan's executed. And all right, I'm echoing off somebody. All right, and we find out the lie of the land. It does. It looks going to be a very Orwellian type of situation. It looks like it's going to be, everything gone wrong, and really looking forward to seeing, how they work this stuff out. So until then, everybody, enjoy the rest of your night. Take care. Ta-ta. Bye. On the flip side.
28 letters. 28 letters. I don't think it was the longest one, but.
No, don't worry. We'll actually get a calculator and figure it out.
Get your thesaurus out, people.